It's Friday, February 13th, and the time now is 9 p.m., and this is the Daily Rewind. It's time to get you all caught up on today's stories.
We are following breaking news from Norfolk. Police say a man was hurt in a shooting. This happened around 11:20 last night on Picadilly Street and Wellington Street. The man was rushed to the hospital with serious injuries. We are working this morning to learn more from Norfolk Police, so stick with us on air and online for those updates.
We are also following breaking news this morning. Portsmouth police are investigating a deadly crash. It happened around 11 o'clock last night near the intersection of Elm Avenue and High Street. That intersection was closed into the early morning hours, but it has reopened. We'll be sure to let you know as soon as we learn more details.
Health officials are warning of a possible second wave of the flu. This comes after what has been one of the worst flu seasons in decades. Thank you for joining us on Fox 43. I'm Julia Avery in for Kiana Patterson.
And I'm Katie Collette. In January, flu-related doctor's visits reached the highest level seen in 25 years nationwide. 10 on your side's Michael Rinker joins us in the studio with more details on what the doctors have to say this morning. Michael?
Yeah, good morning, Katie and Julia. Of 27 states, Virginia is one of those 27 states that at the end of January saw high levels of flu cases and transmissions. According to the CDC, most of those cases are influenza type A, but B is growing in numbers. So doctors say now is the time to get vaccinated. And here in Virginia, our vaccination rate is pretty low. Just 30% of the state population has a flu vaccine that protects you from both A and B. The two groups that are most at risk are seniors 65 and older and children younger than 4. Nationally, 90% of all pediatric deaths were children who did not get the vaccine. And at the end of January, just in the last week, 8 children died from the flu. Now, the worst of the flu season has been attributed to the H3N2 subclade K variant, which is also known as the super flu. And after 4 weeks of decreasing flu numbers, influenza B cases are rising, and local doctors say there's still time to curb that trend.
It may not prevent completely from not getting the disease, but it dramatically reduces the risk, the complications, hospitalization rate. So you live through it and you do okay. And that to me is what's the bottom line of importance.
Now here in our area, Eastern Virginia, the Department of Health has diagnosed 583 flu cases, and 2.1% of emergency visits are related to the flu. Those numbers are trending down, and that's why Dr. Welch and many in her community are encouraging everyone to get the vaccine to keep those numbers low. Michael Rinker, 10 on your side.
Michael, thank you. 8:03 now, and we have developing news from Virginia Beach. A single vehicle crash hurt a driver in Virginia Beach. It happened just after 6 yesterday morning on Virginia Beach Boulevard. The driver was taken to the hospital and is expected to be just fine. We're working to learn more about how it happened.
And in Chesapeake, there was an unusual theft at a Chesapeake drugstore. Police say the man on your screen took a DoorDash bag as well as $1,400 worth of birth control pills. To be exact, it was 28 boxes of Plan B. Investigators say it happened last Tuesday, so take a look at your screen. If you recognize this man in the baseball hat, call the crime line or use the P3 Tips app on your phone.
26-year-old Tyler Davis has been sentenced to 58 years in prison for trying to kill a Virginia Beach police officer. In October of 2023, police responded to a shoplifting call at the Kohl's at Pembroke Mall. During a chase, investigators say Davis shot at an officer 3 times. The officer was not hit, but one bullet hit his cruiser.
Well, if you saw smoke and fire yesterday in Virginia Beach, don't worry, it was intentional. The U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, the Virginia Department of Conservation and Recreation, and Virginia Beach firefighters did a controlled burn at Back Bay Wildlife Refuge yesterday, hitting 300 acres, literally fighting fire with fire for this controlled burn. That operation centers on removing dead vegetation to reduce wildfire risk and to improve the habitat's health. Looking ahead, the Portsmouth Health Department is hosting a free community baby shower. It's tomorrow from 10 until 2. It will take place at the neighborhood facility. The event, called Love Grows Here, will help educate families and connect them to vital resources. There will also be some free giveaways.
The Suffolk Public Library is hosting a series of free and family-friendly programs in February that honor Black History Month. Tomorrow, it's hosting the SPL Rhythm Circle. This will have family fun with instruments at North Suffolk Library. That event is from 10:30 to 11:30 tomorrow.
Developing news from Capitol Hill this morning. It is the final day for Congress to make a deal to keep the Department of Homeland Security funded.
Democrats rejected a proposal from the White House to fund the agency, all but guaranteeing a shutdown for DHS. Washington correspondent Vinay Simlot joins us live. So, Vinay, how exactly did these talks break down?
Yeah, Katie, Julia, Senate Democrats and the White House each exchanged proposals to fund the Department of Homeland Security, but neither side agreed to the other's proposal, and there are less than 16 hours to go until the Department of Homeland Security runs out of funding.
If Republicans want to keep DHS funded, they need to get serious.
Senate Democratic leader Chuck Schumer blames Republicans for the Homeland Security funding standoff, arguing Congress needs to put guardrails on immigration enforcement.
If the Trump administration is not willing to make serious reforms, I'm not going to provide a dime.
In the negotiation, Democrats say they want to ban masks for ICE agents. President Donald Trump says he won't agree to that.
We have to protect our law enforcement. They want our law enforcement to be totally vulnerable.
And one of the biggest sticking points in a major policy change, President Trump's acting ICE director issued a memo arguing immigration agents can use an administrative warrant to enter homes or private property, not a warrant signed by a federal judge. Democrats want that practice to end.
The average American knows you don't knock on a door and go into a house without a warrant.
These conditions would materially slow immigration enforcement in this nation.
Texas Republican Congressman Michael McCall, who's not running for re-election, says he thinks immigration agents need judicial warrants in certain situations.
When you talk about a home seizure, breaking down doors of a house, we do have a Fourth Amendment judicial warrants, I think, should play there.
Now, there is a point of agreement between Republicans and Democrats. Both sides say that they want to see body cameras for immigration agents and Customs and Border Protection, and both of their proposals fund that.
Vinay, anytime the word shutdown is put out there, people are thinking, how is this going to affect me? So in this particular situation, which programs would be affected?
Yeah, importantly, too, with this conversation, ICE and the Customs and Border Protection would not be affected, according to DHS officials. And that's because the Big Beautiful Bill Act that passed back in July funded them with billions of dollars extra. So they will be okay. It would be things like TSA, the Coast Guard, even Secret Service. Some of those employees could miss out on paychecks depending on how long it would go.
All right, Vinay Simlot in D.C., thank you so much. Developing news now. We have multiple reports that say the Norfolk-based USS Gerald R. Ford and its strike group are headed to the Middle East.
And it's joining the USS Abraham Lincoln Carrier Strike Group in the Persian Gulf. 10 on your side's Kagan Hughes is joining us live in the control room with those details.
Yeah, good morning, Julia, Katie. USS Gerald R. Ford left Norfolk in June for deployment, but was supposed to be in Europe. After getting redirected to the Caribbean as part of the President Trump's campaign against Venezuela, it's now headed to the Middle East. USS Gerald R. Ford's deployment to the Middle East comes after President Trump indicated another round of talks with the Iranians. According to AP, the negotiations did not work out once top security officials from both countries met and exchanged messages. Now, no word yet on how long the ship will remain in the Middle East as talks continue between the two countries. Kagan Hughes, 10 on your side.
Yesterday, the Navy announced 2 ships collided while patrolling the Caribbean Sea. At least 2 people are hurt with minor injuries. One of those ships is the USS Truxtun, which just left Norfolk earlier this month. This video here shows that deployment. Now, the other ship is the USNS Supply. It was a replenishment ship. The cause of the collision is under investigation.
The character of war is evolving. That was the message yesterday at a ceremony at Joint Base Langley Eustis. This comes months after the Transformation and Training Command, or T2COM, was formed to modernize the United States Army. Under T2COM, the Futures and Concepts Command, or FCC, will now serve as the architects of the Army, overseeing the integration of new technologies and doctrines going forward.
The mission is to do concepts, experiments, requirements for the future Army, basically be the architect of the Army and deliver those capabilities for the operational force. You know, you see it in the things going on around the world today where even a cell phone, for instance, can help, you know, give away a position or what somebody's doing. So when you're under that kind of observation, you have to kind of adjust how you fight, and that's our mission.
To learn more about FCC and its activation here in Hampton Roads, head to this story on wavy.com.
In your health headlines this morning, health officials in North Carolina are warning residents about possible measles exposures. The exposures were reported in Wake, Durham, and Johnston counties as the state continues to see a rise in measles cases. Now, statewide, 18 cases have been reported since December. That's all according to North Carolina's Department of Health and Human Services. Nearly 3/4 of the cases involved people who were not vaccinated. Most of them were children. One child was hospitalized in Nash County, east of Raleigh. Dr. Cameron Wolf, a professor of medicine at Duke University in Durham, says that even mild cases can cause high fevers, while severe cases can lead to brain swelling, seizures, hearing loss, or even death. There is a new, very fun show on Wavy Plus. It's called The Group Chat. Tamara Brown and Kiana Patterson talk about everything that you're talking about in your family chat or your group chat with friends.
Bonito Bowl, it came, it happened.
I thought to myself instantly, like, I need to learn Spanish. I need to go to Puerto Rico. I love it.
One of the best parts of the show, like in terms of like storytelling and stuff, the wedding was incredible.
Yes,
and so if I invited you to my wedding, would you invite me onto the morning show with you and Katie to have me get married like live on the morning news?
Let's do it. Now, I don't know if my boss would, but I'm down. I would love that. I love love.
Breaking news, Tamara Brown is officially married.
I think we need to get Jeremy to get his credentials so he can officiate.
Dunzo.
And I'll be the flower girl. You don't have to ask me twice. The show is going to air on Wavy Plus on Fridays. You can download and watch Wavy Plus for free on Amazon Fire, Roku, and Apple TV devices. Student protests are expected to take place at Manor High School in Portsmouth. One is set for around 12:30, the other 20 minutes after that. Students told Wavy News 10 that the protests were initially student-led, but the principal has now made them a school-sponsored activity. 10 on Your Side has also received reports of walkouts planned for February 20th at Kempsville High School in Virginia Beach and another in Gloucester County schools. 10 on Your Side's Ashley Knight is covering today's walkouts. She'll have a live report coming up at 12:30, and you can read more right now on wavy.com. Meanwhile, the Department of Homeland Security seems poised for a partial shutdown. Senate Democrats will not move ahead with a spending bill needed to keep the agency running because it lacked the limits they have demanded for ICE agents. Midnight is the deadline to reach an agreement. Now, it is important to note that ICE has already been fully funded through the rest of the Trump administration, but a DHS shutdown would significantly impact the workforce, airport security, cybersecurity, FEMA, and emergency responses. We'll keep you posted. Now going to breaking news from Portsmouth. One of two planned anti-ICE protests at Manor High School is getting underway as we speak. 10 on Your Side's Ashley Knight is joining us live now from outside of the school. Ashley, what have you seen?
Hey, Julia, like you said, this was a planned protest here at Manor High School. They are protesting ICE activity going on in Minnesota. This was kind of actually part of a nationwide decision for school students to protest these ICE activities. And if you take a look over here, we have not seen any students just yet, but let me tell you what we know so far. Principal Craig Harris here at Manor wrote a note to parents last night saying they were aware of the walkout, and he emphasized this is not a school-sponsored event. He says he spoke with the student coordinator of the protest to coordinate how students can, quote, exercise their First Amendment rights while also maintaining a safe and orderly learning environment. He says students are allowed to walk out to the stadium and around the track for a designated amount of time and then return to class. And like I said, I think this one was scheduled to begin at 12:30, so we may see students trickling out kind of in a few minutes or so.
Now to the latest from Arizona. Investigators are releasing more details about a man seen in images released by the FBI in front of Nancy Guthrie's home. She's now been missing for 13 days. Caroline Elliott has the latest on the probe from Tucson.
Savannah Guthrie posting an emotional new video on Instagram Thursday showing her and her siblings with their mom when they were kids, writing, "Our lovely mom, we will never give up on her. Thank you for your prayers and hope." Nearly 2 weeks in, hundreds of detectives are now working on the case as investigators have received thousands of tips.
This is the exact antithesis of a cold case. Public interest out here in the Tucson area is through the roof. Each day we learn new developments, and that is advancing the investigation step by step.
Thursday, investigators are back at Nancy Guthrie's home with what appeared to be video forensic analysis equipment, possibly trying to get more clues from that cryptic surveillance video released earlier this week showing a masked person outside the home.
The things we can see with the mask, like eyes, nose bridge, mouth shape, and of course the shape and depth of the face. The FBI uses all these things, including an analysis of height and weight, which I'm sure they have, to come up with the idea for a potential subject.
The Pima County Sheriff sent out a new update Thursday asking neighbors with home surveillance cameras to send in their footage. Investigators are looking for anything of cars, pedestrians, or anything out of the ordinary between January 1st and February 2nd.
It's now been 1 week since the Pima County Sheriff's Department has had any kind of press conference here, and we're told at this time it's unclear exactly when that next press conference would be. In Tucson, Arizona, Caroline Elliott, Fox News. Justin, the Supreme Court of Virginia has denied a motion to stay an injunction from a lower court on redistricting here in the Commonwealth. This means the referendum on changing the congressional districts will move forward on April 21st. The new map would create 10 congressional districts that favor Democrats and only one that favors a Republican.
Now we get into Saturday and light and variable winds to start the day. Cool start to the day. It'll be around 29, 30 degrees, and then we'll warm on up. This is going 51. I'm going closer to 55, 56 during the afternoon coming up on Saturday with the southwesterly breeze. Lots of sunshine. I think we'll start to warm up pretty nicely. But what's this with the cloud cover later in the day? Well, it's in advance of some rainfall, maybe a stray shower on Sunday morning. Much more likely, though, once we hit the afternoon hours. You saw us hitting the low 50s and then dropping on down once the rain began into the area. And it's likely to be a moderately heavy rain coming up by the dinner hour, by 5, 6, 7 o'clock in the evening. Moderately heavy rainfall moving on through, and we could see substantial amounts of rain, an inch, inch and a half, maybe even 2 inches of rainfall here and there. There's where things are. By 11 o'clock at night, the heaviest of the rainfall has ended. Now we've got more of a northerly wind flow into the area and really quite breezy, if not out now windy, 27 to 40 mile an hour winds by 3 o'clock in the morning, and maybe even a flake or two of snow. Not real concerned about it. Look at how skinny that band of snow is on the back edge of things. And with temperatures at 35 to 37, again, that's not concerning at all. It would be just a little bit of slush that would likely go away real quickly and not stick on the roads. 37 at 7 in the morning, 30 30 to 45 mile an hour winds, 29 to 40 mile an hour winds Monday morning at 9. So again, very active weather coming up, especially for Sunday during the afternoon hours, late afternoon hours. I think it will rain heavily into the evening hours. Could end as a little bit of snow for some of us, but I think most of us it will be just some scattered showers, dropping to 36 and rising back out up to about 49 by later on in the day. So again, cool Friday, beautiful day on Saturday. Sunday, man, it's going to be a washout in the afternoon. Rain comes to an end early on Monday, and then temperatures next week rebound very nicely into the 50s and low 60s.
Breaking news from Portsmouth right now. Police say they have arrested 5 juveniles in connection to the deadly shooting of 13-year-old Jakari Corbett. Corbett was gunned down in December of last year on Atlanta Avenue. The ages of the suspects range between 15 and 16. They are facing several charges, including aggravated murder, robbery, and possession of a firearm by a minor. A homicide investigation is breaking news from Williamsburg. Police say just before midnight Wednesday night, they responded to Kings Manor Drive, that's off Richmond Road. They say they found 33-year-old Antonio Knight dead in an apartment.
Investigators say he had been shot. They tell us this appears to be an isolated incident. So far, no information about a suspect or possible motive. Call the crime line or use the P3 Tips app if you know anything. More breaking news, this from Suffolk. That's where 10 people have been arrested after raids on vape shops in the city. You can see on the map there, they are scattered across the city. In all, 9 locations were investigated by federal, state, and local authorities. Police say those businesses were also selling illegal drugs. The people arrested are all charged with possession with intent to deliver marijuana. And more breaking news involving last night's deadly crash in Portsmouth. Police just told us 2 people were killed. It happened just before 11 o'clock on High Street and Elm Avenue. 3 vehicles were involved.
Detectives say 23-year-old Naasia Hill and 24-year-old DeAndre Lilly were in a car that was hit by another vehicle. The force of that impact pushed their car into a pickup truck. Both Hill and Lilly died on the scene. The driver of the car that caused the crash was hurt and was taken to a hospital. We are told alcohol was a factor. No word yet on any charges in this case.
Several students in parts of Hampton Roads participated in a walkout protest today, protesting ICE activity. A couple students at Manor High School in Portsmouth participated, and Manor High's principal said he met with the student coordinator to set rules and boundaries for those wishing to participate. Also at Deep Creek High School in Chesapeake, there were around 30 students protesting on the corner of George Washington Highway and Galberry Road. That group was made up mostly of Hispanic students waving the flags of their countries. We talked with a Deep Creek senior about the protest.
We are protesting ICE. We are protesting them taking children away from families, ripping mothers away from all their families, and it does not make sense. Nobody is illegal on stolen land.
On at 4, a not guilty verdict for a man accused in a recent deadly shooting in Norfolk. The attorney for Shaquille McKesson says a jury acquitted him today. 10 on Your Side was there as he walked out of jail this afternoon. He was facing a first-degree murder and firearms charge in the July shooting of Erica Wright on Bagnell Road. 10 on Your Side caught up with McKesson's attorney as his client was released from the Norfolk jail.
It's the best feeling possible. I can't describe it. It's what we work so hard for. And this is flesh and blood. These are real people. He has a life. He doesn't deserve to be in jail.
Now, the shooting was just one in a long line of violent cases in the Calvert Square neighborhood. Community activists called on people to end the gunfire. You can read more about that on wavy.com.
All new at 4, a power upgrade at Naval Weapons Station Yorktown. Congressional funding will help the base improve production. Congressman Rob Whitman says his office helped secure $2.2 million to construct better shore power infrastructure infrastructure for Virginia-class submarines. Now, right now, we're told the base does not have the power capabilities it needs to maximize its potential when working on subs.